Jasmy just released a new roadmap for 2025, and the things that they've laid out could be super bullish for the Jasmy coin moving forward. We're going to talk about that in this video. It's been about a month since I've done an update, and I figure now was the time to tell you my thoughts on the coin. But before we get started, welcome back to the channel. My name's Doc. Throughout the day, I'm a resident physician, and at night and the early morning, I'm taking you guys on my crypto and investing journey. Figured we were long overdue. It's been actually over a month since our last Jasmy video update. We've done a couple of these now and feel like there's some opportunity on the vine here. But before we talk about Jasmy, I'm going to let you guys know my price predictions. I'm going to give you my bear case, base case, bull case. But before we do that, we got to talk about Bitcoin, because this is really setting the tone for the rest of the market. So Bitcoin right now, just a hair under $95,000. And it's kind of in this weird resting period, right? You can see we've just been chopping sideways. And that's because we have a really big week for Bitcoin. Like this whole week is going to be huge. So if we actually just go to Twitter and we look at my most recent tweet right here, this is the week for Bitcoin, right? And tomorrow we have the JOLTS job openings and then consumer confidence. But then Wednesday's a really big day, right? We got our Q1 GDP reading, some core inflation data, and then big earnings day. So Wednesday's huge. And the whole reason that I'm bringing that up is Bitcoin's kind of just hanging out until some of this data releases, right? We all know that the Fed is monitoring inflation right now. So that's going to be a Wednesday day. And I suspect, based off how some of these readings go, Bitcoin will either do one of two things. It's either going to A, come back down and retest the bull market support band, and that's around 92-ish thousand, or it's going to bounce back up and retest our 50-day moving average, which is right around 96,300, give or take, right? Because this is moving every day. So we're going to see what happens with Bitcoin. And depending on how Bitcoin does, alts are going to make a move. And it's really important for me to mention right now, Bitcoin is above its bull market support band. But when we look at total two, this is the entire cryptocurrency market minus Bitcoin. We can see, so right, this represents alts in a lot of way, right? Because it's the entire crypto market minus Bitcoin. We can see this is actually below the bull market support band. So that's really important to recognize that we're not in altcoin season yet, right? If we take a look at the Bitcoin dominance right now is 64.3%. And just for a little bit of perspective, it was not long ago where we were thinking like, oh my gosh, are we going to hit 60%? And then we rocketed past that. So what I'm saying in layman's terms is we're not in altcoin season yet, right? Total two is still below the bull market support band. And although Bitcoin is actually holding up really well, given all of the crazy news that's been going on, alts aren't there yet. So you might be thinking, well, Doc, this is a Jasmy video. Why are we saying that it's not alt season? Well, what I'm saying is the risk to reward ratio right now for Jasmy could be a good buying opportunity. So why do I say that? Well, right now it's a little over 1.5 cents per token, right? So it's pretty low. The price has been beat down. There's no doubt about that. Not long ago, we actually went lower. We dipped below 1 cent for a little bit of time. Now, I've been micro DCAing into different alts, Jasmy being one of them. I am a Jasmy holder myself. I bought some up. I actually got in right a little above 1 cent. I think it was like 1.1 or 1.2 cents. So I bought this dip. Now, granted, most of my holdings are in Bitcoin and ETH, but I do have alts, right? I have various alts. If you're curious which alts I'm in, there's going to be a link to the Discord below, totally free. We have nothing to sell you. And guess what? I mean this with like every fiber of my body. We probably have one of the best Discords in all of YouTube. We are such a rock solid group, so much alpha being dropped in this chat, like truly. So this is a post that I shared earlier today, and we're looking at, this is the top 200 tokens over a 200-day span. And look, most of these alts are red compared to Bitcoin. So, right, 27 projects were green compared to Bitcoin, and 140 were red. You might be thinking, hey, Doc, I thought you said this is a top 200. Well, we're taking out stable coins and some duplicates. Nonetheless, this shows we're not in alt season yet. And by the way, link to the free Discord is going to be down below. But what it does mean is we have some buying opportunities. And I think we have some really cool catalysts coming up. The other interesting thing is in December, this was almost 6 cents, right? Almost 6 cents in December, which is just a few short months ago, which would be roughly a 4x from here, right? So the potential to do well if the entire crypto market turns around, it's there, right? We already know that the circulating supply is very close to the max supply, right? This is close to 98-ish, 96, 97% total circulating supply, which is huge, right? You're not going to get diluted. So we're talking about what are some catalysts that's going on, right? Like what's happening? Well, Hera, he put this out, I think a day or two ago. Yeah, actually, today's the 28th. So he tweeted this out today, right? And in essence, what he did is, and we're going to go through all of this because I think there's a lot of really important things that are said here. For those that don't know, he's the CFO of the project. In a lot of ways, I kind of interpreted this as like he runs the project, but I guess his official post is that he's the CFO. Well, nonetheless, he posted this today, and it's really all over Twitter. It's all over Reddit. So in essence, this is their new roadmap, right? And they talked about how they're going to enter the next phase of Jasmy and what that means. And they're really talking about how they want to build upon their developer program, right? So I thought this was really interesting. They're really going all in, or they're reinvesting into their developer program, right? Because we know when projects are built on top of other projects, it increases the use case for it, right? So their take-home messages, they're just trying to create a secure and scalable web application on the Jasmy app. And I thought that was awesome. The fact that they're trying to build an app is going to be really, really big, right? So the big thing is they're talking about these software developer kits. This is super, super underrated for developers. If they can have these pre-packaged software developer kits, that's what SDK is. I think that could really help throw some gas on the fire. The other thing that I like about this post is they give a timeline, right? Now, with timelines, I always take these with a grain of salt because things happen all the time, right? Crypto, it's a very volatile environment. Although it has been holding up better than stocks, we've seen over the past couple months, there's some huge swings, right? So Q1, they are really trying to work on their developer program, right? And get this portal launched, right? The other thing is they're trying to create a system for nodes to earn Jasmy as an incentive to run a validator, right? So they're hoping to have 7,000 nodes and 5 validators. I thought this was pretty interesting. And then in Q2, they're going to have the alpha version of their app, right? So alpha, for those who don't know, that's kind of like the pre-beta, right? And we think that the beta version of something that comes out is usually one of the final products before it's released to the mainstream, right? Or put differently, till the final app is out. So the alpha release of the app is going to come in Q2, and then we're talking that the Jasmy app should be rocking and rolling by Q3. The other interesting thing that caught my eye for Q4 on this was bank deposit linkages. And I thought that was really interesting. And then they're also trying to align with some sports companies, right? So put differently, to get some exposure, right? They want to get some exposure on the Jasmy product. So I thought that was really interesting. The other thing, they're talking about their circulation for the ecosystem. It's going to be fully commenced. So things to look forward to on the Jasmy timeline for 2025. To be honest with you, I'm glad that they came out with this, because over the past weeks, there's a reason why I haven't made a video in a month. I just didn't think there was a whole lot of news that was coming out. So I was glad to see this, right? It really does show that they're still building in the background. And I think that's actually a really important reminder that just because we don't hear things every day, right? Crypto moves fast. It's okay, right? We know that they're building in the background. I really like this tweet here. I'm actually going to go ahead and like it. I like this tweet here. This guy saying, Steph Crypto, he's saying you're already up 105% if you bought the low, right? So he shows this chart. This is a super in-depth chart. We were talking about right here. It fell to less than a cent, and he has a couple different price predictions here, right? Now, it's interesting. He has a line right above 2 cents, and I very much agree with that. We need to get back above 2 cents before we can start building some momentum to get back to where we were in December, which is right around 6 cents. So these are some key targets to look for. Right above 2 cents, I think it's technically like 2.2 cents. Then we need to get to 3.5 cents, and then right below 4.5 cents. So these are some levels to put on your guys' radar. The other thing that I liked here is right now, Jasmy's flirting with its 50-day moving average, right? That's the orange line here. The orange line is a 50-day moving average. So we need to stay above this, right? And we've been flirting with it for a little bit. We need to stay above this, and this will be really, really good. So this is the BTCC platform. I really like it. I think it's clean. We can also look at a bunch of things. We look at the 5-day average. That one's kind of tough to see. That's this line right here. So right now we're below the 5-day average. And then you guys know I love me some Bollinger Bands, right? So this right now we're seeing we're at the bottom part of the Bollinger Bands on the 4-hour. If we switch this over to the day, we are near the top of the Bollinger Bands, and that's because we had this really big move up from 0.8 all the way up to about 1.2. So that's why we're near the top of this Bollinger Bands. But the interesting thing is, as you go out more time, so we're looking at a weekly chart here. This gives us a longer perspective. We can see we're still at the bottom part of this Bollinger Bands. So if you're looking to trade Jasmy, my BTCC link is going to be down below. You can get a 10% bonus on first-time deposits. This is a no KYC, no VPN platform, which is good. It means that you don't got to give them any of your own personal information. You can access this anywhere. The other good thing is Jasmy, you can do a 50x leverage here. So the way that you do this after you sign in, you just go to markets, and then you type in Jasmy, boom, right here, Jasmy, and then you hit trade. So that's how you access the platform, and then you can go all the way up to a 50x leverage. Now, personally, I don't put 50x average plays in. If I'm doing long-term plays, sometimes I'll do some lottery tickets and I might put a 50x leverage in. I'm a little apprehensive to put leverage in this high because on a 50x leverage, if the price goes down 2%, you will get liquidated. So probably safer if you are going to play with leverage to do like a 5 or 6x leverage. That way, the project would have to drop below 20% before you get liquidated. So again, if you even want to be safer than that, you could do like a 2x leverage. Then you won't get liquidated as long as the price stays above 50% of where it is. So just kind of little, I guess, FYI as far as leverage trading goes. The other interesting thing is Coin Bureau actually mentioned Jasmy not long ago. I think this was about a week or so ago. He said, they have like a really strong like cult community, and you guys do. Like Jasmy community, we show up hard. And if just for a perspective, this is big. It's a big deal. You might be thinking like, okay, it was mentioned on Coin Bureau. They have almost 1 million followers on Twitter/X, and they have a ton of followers on YouTube as well. I want to end with this. I thought this was like a really interesting take on Jasmy. This was on Reddit. Only go to Reddit if you're a degenerate because there's a lot that's happening there. But this person, this is about a week ago, they're saying like, hey, don't get too excited about this move. And they're really talking in relation to the US dollar index, right? And that's so important because if we come down and we look at the Dixie, and yes, this was in the Jasmy, this Reddit post was in the Jasmy Reddit. They're talking about like, hey, take profits. At one point, this guy was up 16K. Now he's down 3. We're saying crypto moves fast, but I really liked this post because they're talking about the US dollar. And right now, the dollar's tanked, right? It's below 100, and this is good for alts, right? We said earlier in the video, we're not in altcoin season yet, but the framework is being set because we know that we need a weak dollar for alts to rip. So a lot of interesting things coming on with Jasmy. Price is down right now, but to be honest with you, this is probably the time to buy, right? We're currently under $1 billion market cap right now. I think we're sitting at around 800 800 million market cap. So below a billion could potentially be a time to buy in if you have conviction in the play. I'm curious though, where do you guys think Jasmy can go this cycle? Kind of give you my price prediction thoughts. If you made it this far to the video, I'm 15 minutes in already. I try to keep these between 8 and 12 minutes. So if you've watched my other videos, you kind of know my price targets on this, but right now we are at about a $800 million market cap. Okay. Where do I think this can go? Well, I think my base case is a $20 to $30 million Jasmy, or excuse me, $1 billion market cap Jasmy. I'm chewing on my words, right? So let's just say a $20 billion, that's roughly a 25 to 30x from here, right? Now, granted, this is under the understanding that Bitcoin has not put in its new all-time highs yet, right? So we need Bitcoin to get back above 109,000, and we need dominance to fall before all alts, including Jasmy, can run. If Bitcoin puts in new all-time highs, we get to like the 130s, the 140s, and dominance comes down, it would be my base case that Jasmy hits 25 to $30 billion, which is roughly a 25 to 30x from here. My bear case is that Jasmy gets to $5 billion, right? So from here, that's roughly a 6-7x, which is still good, but that means that we truly aren't getting our real bull market cycle that we're all waiting for, right? That would mean that Bitcoin, the top is already in, and alt season is kind of meh, right? Kind of meh. In essence, it would be similar to where we were in December. And then my ultra bearish case, or excuse me, bullish case. All the stars are aligned. Everything's just working out. We're in pure euphoria. This is like Bitcoin hitting 160s, 170s, and Bitcoin dominance is below 50%, right? We said earlier we're at 64%. I do think in a super bullish case that Jasmy could reach Polkadot's market cap from last cycle, which was roughly $50 billion. Now from here, that would be like a 60 or 70x, right? Again, the probabilities of that happening are low just because so many things have to align, right? We'd have to have a huge blow off top on Bitcoin, and Bitcoin dominance would have to fall quite a bit. But I read all of the comments and I'm trying to learn with you guys. So let me know, where do you think Jasmy can go this cycle? And if you got any value of this, hit the like button, comment down below, and consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on my next video.